Hey, it's Purple Wednesday, and that means it's time for a mini masterclass. Now, yesterday, I promised you that I was going to take you inside the inner workings of my year-end process, how I clean up my laptop and clean up my files to make sure that everything is ready for the next year. So today I'm going to give you an overview of the entire process. Now, this is a process that takes me about a week, and no, I don't delegate it to a VA or anybody like that because my laptop contains business as well as personal information. So I want to make sure that I do this myself. So you ready? Let's get started. I am going to share my screen first, and the first thing that we are going to do is take a look at my C drive. So on my C drive, I have lots and lots of files. I've got folders here. I have files. I have documents. I have so much stuff here in my C drive, and I don't need all of this stuff going into the new year. So basically, all I'm going to do is choose a group of files. So I'm going to choose the first one. I don't need these Microsoft Teams training files. These are trainings that I've already done, and you can see they were done in 2020. So I'm going to basically highlight all of them, and then I am going to delete them. Really, really simple stuff. So what I do is I go through my entire hard drive and I delete all of the files that I'm not going to be needing in the next year. So I also go into my desktop files, I go into my downloads, I go into music, I go into my pictures. You can see I don't have any music. I go into my pictures, I go into my videos, and I basically clean all of that stuff up. After I'm done cleaning up all of my C files, I go to my iDrive. Now, iDrive is a program that I use to back up my entire hard drive. So here we go. We've got iDrive. I'm going to get rid of this window, and I'm showing you basically a screenshot of my iDrive, and I blocked some stuff out because it does contain some sensitive information. So the first thing that I do when I go into iDrive is I sort all of my websites by the most recent, because what I want to do is basically delete all of the websites that I haven't been using. So I'll go in and I sort by most recent, and as you can see in the screen here in the top, you've got iDrive, Mercury, Navy Federal, which, yeah, we go to an awful lot. Google, Amazon, PayPal. This blocked out information is where the email addresses are, but it also tells you when it was last used. So you can see that 15, 20, 22 minutes ago, etc. So these are websites that I'm going to leave alone in iDrive. On the bottom, however, you can see where I have other websites that I've gone to. It says not last used never. That usually means it's been more than a year since I've used it. And my philosophy is if I haven't used it in a year, I probably don't need it. So these are going to be the ones that I get rid of. I'll simply put a check mark in the box. And since this is a screenshot, I can't do that. But I put a check mark in the box, and then I tell it to delete those particular files. In addition to cleaning up the websites, I also go into each one of these websites and I change the password. And again, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go into each one of these applications that I'm showing you, and I'm going to give you a tutorial on how they can be used for you, how you can use them for yourself. So I'll go in and I'll delete the unwanted websites, then I'll go into each one, and depending on how many you have, and I have an awful lot, I will go in and I will change all of the passwords in each one of these so that I can start the year fresh. Now, after I'm done with that, then I start to archive my files. Now, as you saw a minute ago on, nope, we don't want to save this. As you saw, nope, a moment ago, let's go to AWS. I had a whole lot of stuff on my C drive. Now, there may be some things that after I've deleted, there may be some things that I want to keep, but I don't want them on my hard drive taking up space. I may need to access them at a later date. So for that, I use Amazon Web Services, AWS basically, and we're looking at the management console. Now, the service that I specifically use to do that is S3. That's the data storage And it provides, as it says, easy to use object storage to store and retrieve any amount of data in the cloud. Now, since it's in the cloud, that means I can access it, my virtual assistants can access it. I can also give other people access to very specific files. So if we go here into S3, let's try that again. And Amazon is still kind of acting a little quirky. I'm sure you guys have heard about the outage yesterday. And if you didn't hear about the outage, then you need to go to my posts from yesterday and it'll tell you all about what happened with Amazon Web Services. Amazon crashed, their deliveries couldn't get done, Ring services. If you have a Ring doorbell and you were having difficulty, that was why you were having difficulty. A whole bunch of other websites had issues because Amazon, very quietly, Amazon and Google are basically the backbone of the internet. And there's so much data, so much information that's stored on Amazon Web Services that you don't even know about, that's why everything was affected yesterday. But I digress. So if I'm going to do an archive, and you can see I have two archives right now. I have a master video file and I have an HP backup December 2021 that I was doing as a test. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bucket and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to just give it that. I'll choose the region. I'll just stay here in Virginia. And let's see, I'll choose the bucket. No, I don't want to copy the settings. I'll come all the way down here and yes, block all public access. Now, if I do that, that just basically means that I'm the only one who can get to it. And that's what I want to do for this one. But again, I will give you a full masterclass on how to use S3 and AWS a little bit later on this month. So when I'm done with everything, server-side encryption, I'm going to disable the server-side encryption for now. I'll just create the bucket. Sorry. How about this? Give it the right name. We'll just call it bucket. Doesn't want to cooperate with me this morning. How about Kimberly Bucket? See, that was easy. So now I've got Kimberly Bucket, and what I want to do is I want to put files in there. So I'm just going to basically click on it, and then I'm going to click on upload. And I'll tell it to add files. Now it's going to ask me if I want to add files. So yeah, I'll add files. And then I'll add some folders. Okay, everything looks good. And I will tell it now to just upload. And now we've got files and folders uploading. So this is what I do with information that I want to archive. And that is that I want to access it, but I don't necessarily want it on my hard drive. So later on, I'm going to need an internet connection if I ever want to access these items again. And what I will do now is go back to my hard drive and actually delete these from my hard drive now because I have them in, and you can see upload succeeded. Now I have them in my AWS S3 archive. So very quickly, we've gone through archive, we've gone through deleting unwanted passwords, we've gone through cleaning up your passwords and all of the websites that you go to in iDrive. We've also deleted some unwanted and unneeded files on your C drive. The last thing that we're going to do is take a look at backup. Now for backup, I use a service called iDrive. And if you guys sign up right now, and no, I'm not paid to say this, right now you've got 5 terabytes of cloud backup for the first year at $7.95, which is an absolute steal. So if I were you, I would hot-foot it over to iDrive and go ahead and get that deal. But let's go into iDrive. And this is basically what the, let's try that again. This is what the dashboard looks like. So right now, I have it set up to take my desktop files, my documents files, my music, OneDrive, pictures, and video files, and back them up. You can see how many files are in each one, and you can also see how much space each one takes up. So I'm noticing here that my downloads folder is not there, and I want to make sure that it's included because I'm one of those crazy people. I have an awful lot of folders in my downloads folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to change, and I'm going to expand C, and I'll come down here to users, and there it is. Downloads doesn't have a check mark in it. I'll put a check mark in that box, click OK. And now you can see that downloads has now been added. And you can see that downloads actually has more files than any of my other backups. So if I wanted to back this up right now, I would simply just click on backup now. Later on, if I wanted to restore, whether it's to this computer or to a brand new computer, because you can do that, I would click on restore and walk through that process. What I also do is I schedule all of my backups. So usually at 5 o'clock in the morning, actually, we're going to make it 4 o'clock. At 4:31 in the morning, every day, I'm going to make sure that my laptop is backed up. I can have an email notification sent to me to make sure that I know that the backup actually happened last night. It also can give you a little notification on your desktop to make sure that you know that you get a little message that everything has been backed up. If everything is to your liking, you're just basically going to click on Save Changes. iDrive can also help you sync files. Nope, we don't want to do that. iDrive can also help you sync files between computers, and that is something that I will walk you through when I do the iDrive mini masterclass. We can also do server backups, and for most of you, this doesn't even make sense. It's not applicable at all. And then we also have the settings, how we have everything set up for iDrive. Now, like I said, it usually takes me about a week to go through this entire process of number one, deleting unwanted files from my hard drive. Then I go into Lastpass and I clean up my passwords. I also clean up the websites that I go to. Then I go into S3, Amazon Web Services S3, so that I can archive whatever files that I want to archive and then remove them from my hard drive so that I can have the extra space. And then finally, I make sure that my backup is set up properly and that I'm backing up daily at 4, 5, 3, whatever o'clock in the morning, whatever makes the most sense to you. So that is my year-end process for data. I hope that you adopt this. And again, as we go forward with December, next coming couple of weeks, I'm going to do mini master classes on how to use each one of these applications. So next Wednesday, we are going to do the mini master class on Lastpass, and we're also going to do the mini master class on iDrive. So you'll have your passwords, your password keeper, which is very important, and you will also have your backup, which is uber important, just in case you lose your laptop, something happens, you need to have a good backup for your laptop. And with that, I'm going to say ciao for now. This has been Purple Wednesday's mini masterclass on the year-end data process. I'll see you tomorrow with Thursday's tech tool. Ciao for now.